Welcome back to the channel. Happy New Year. Hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. Let's sit back and go to 5 red lights on Buffalo Trace.
It's lights out and away we go.
For the first whiskey-related video of the year, I'd like to take a look at Buffalo Trace, specifically the entry-level variants that come from this distillery. If you all are like me, this is a lot of what you were chasing early on in your journey. Now let's take a look at these 6 bottles, see which one reigns supreme. Maybe there's a surprise in here for us. First, let me mix these up. What I will tell you right off the bat is all of these whiskeys look relatively the same. I know that there's one 10-year in here, but it doesn't look significantly darker than the rest. The aromas coming from the glasses already are like just pure quintessential Buffalo Trace, oak, vanilla, caramel, some red fruits already coming from the glasses, some grape, cherry. Well, with that being said, let's dive into the first one. I can tell you that's definitely not bourbon, so I already know which one this is. It's like that first chew of a spearmint gum. I'm assuming this is probably the Sazerac rye. It's the only rye on the table. Cheers. Yeah, I mean, that's just a really fantastic entry-level rye. Low proof, super easy sipping. Definitely would go super good in a cocktail. And you'll probably see this and you'll learn this about me. I'm not the biggest rye fan. I definitely like some of the more what people call the bourbon-friendly ryes, finished ryes, that sort of stuff. But I do love a really good straight rye whiskey in an old-fashioned and in cocktails in general. I think they stand up better than some of the sweeter bourbons. But anyway, this is a fantastic entry-level rye. Definitely worth picking up if you don't have it. Definitely bourbon. Has that nice sweet oak, brown sugar. It's not hot, none of these are hot. These are all in that 90 to 95 proof range. That bourbon, vanilla, caramel, all the standard Buffalo Trace notes. Super familiar on my palate. Definitely get tons of caramel, a little bit of oak, like a berry compote, but kind of like a dried berry type note in there. Almost like a crunch berry maybe. All right, let's get to glass number 3. Very mild. I get some like honey sweetness from this one. Not a whole bunch of character. That definitely feels like a younger whiskey to me. I may be wrong. Again, I'm still developing my palate, so probably I'm gonna be super way off here. But definitely feels like a younger whiskey. Not getting a lot of oak tannins, definitely more ethanol type burn. Has all those classic Buffalo Trace bourbon notes in there. Not a huge fan of this one. Glass number 4. Oh, that's nice. That's sweet, red fruit, cherry. Oh yeah, super easy sipper. This is nice. Has a little bit more spice on the back end, like baking spices. I like that one. Probably middle for me. Glass number 5. This is familiar. This is one that smells like it has some age on it. There's probably only 2 products here that have any real amount of age. I like the smell of this. Definitely get some nice sweet oak. Oh, all of the like cherry, raspberry, grapiness. So far, this is the best one that I would drink neat. I'd probably pick this to drink neat out of all of these. Probably not something I'd put into a cocktail. The palate is really nice, it's sweet, it's inviting, has all of those notes I described, but it probably is not something that I would put in a cocktail because it just wouldn't stand up. Yeah, that's nice. Probably gonna be in contention for the tops for me. All right, let's go on to the final glass. Oh, that's just classic bourbon, vanilla, caramel, little bit of oak, not much, inviting. Palate is not quite as strong as the nose. All those characteristics are there. The vanilla, the caramel, all of those classic bourbon notes, they're all there. I mean, it's a pretty quintessential bourbon. Probably middle of the road for me. I'm gonna go back through, finalize my podium, get back to you here shortly. I've got my answer key here. Let's take a look. 6th place for me, the Sazerac rye here. All right, coming in P5, we got Weller Special Reserve. Now, this is not surprising to me either. I'm not a huge fan of the Buffalo Trace wheated mash bill in general. I think that it falls a little bit short a lot of times for me, and I like their non-wheated mash bills much better. P4, this is Buffalo Trace. Now, Buffalo Trace is a wonderful bourbon, definitely one that I go through here at the house pretty frequently. Put it in cocktails, drink it neat, drink it with ice. It has all those classic Kentucky bourbon notes that you're looking for. It can be a little disappointing to see this on shelves for that $40 to $50 range, and it's definitely not worth that. But for $25 to $30, this is a wonderful whiskey and definitely one that you should have on your shelf. Now, let's get to those podium spots. P3 for me, Blanton's. I'm a little shocked on this one, to be very honest with you. Blanton's is something that I probably chased for at least a year before I had a chance to buy one, and then all of a sudden I had many bottles of Blanton's, including a couple straight from the barrel. I can't say that I've always really enjoyed it. It is a good bourbon, has all those classic notes, but it's definitely not worth the secondary price that people are paying. If you can get it for 70 bucks, it's probably a decent price, maybe up to 80, but past $80, don't buy this. This is not worth any more than that. I'm assuming that glass number 2, younger and much cheaper brother, Benchmark. Now, this is the Benchmark single barrel, and your mileage may vary on what Benchmark product you have, but what I've come to find, and this definitely doesn't surprise me, is that Benchmark products punch way above their weight class, and for the money, I mean a third of the cost of Blanton's, I think it's a better tasting whiskey. Even in a blind, it's done better than Blanton's, which is pretty impressive to me. Now, coming in P1, there can only be one more, and that is Eagle Rare 10-year. This definitely does not surprise me. Eagle Rare by far has been my favorite whiskey from the entry-level products that Buffalo Trace puts out. I have always had multiple bottles of Eagle Rare on the shelf, but I will tell you, for that $40 to $50 price range, maybe even up to $60, I think it's a wonderful bourbon. It's definitely very inviting, has all those classic notes that you want. You get a little bit of added complexity from the 10-year age statement. Well, there you have it. My podium for the Buffalo Trace entry-level bourbon selection. Let me know how these rank for you all in the comments below. Don't forget to like and subscribe. See you on the next one. Cheers. Oh, that's good.